Welcome back to the deep dive, everybody. Today we're going deep into the world of Linux and how to get the information you need from text files.
Text manipulation is a core skill in Linux. It really is.
Absolutely. And I am really excited about all this material you sent over. It's clear, concise, and practical. It's going to give us a lot to work with today.
That's great to hear.
So yeah, we're aiming to give everyone listening the skills and confidence to work with all that text-based data in Linux, and I think we can do that.
I think so too. Especially because all your examples use configuration files from Snort. That's a real-world network intrusion detection system. So we'll be able to show how these skills are used in actual cybersecurity work. We'll be going over reviewing those files, pulling out specific parts, adding line numbers, and really getting into filtering that content.
Perfect. So, to kick things off, let's talk about cat. Everyone knows cat, right?
Right.
It's great for displaying short files.
Yeah.
But the problem is, when you've got something like that snort config file, snort.com,
Oh, yeah.
it's massive. Cat just dumps the whole thing on your screen. It's like drinking from a fire hose.
You just get flooded with text. Not very useful if you're trying to find something specific.
Not helpful at all. So what do?
Well, this is where the head and tail commands come in. Head shows you the beginning of a file, the first 10 lines by default. It's like a quick peek to get you oriented. And if you want to see more, you can just use the option. So like head-20, etc. snort.coms will show you the first 20 lines.
Right, and this is really useful for quickly looking at, I don't know, the start of a script or a configuration file, anything like that.
Exactly.
And then we've got tail, which does the opposite.
Yeah, tail gives you the end of the file, the last 10 lines by default. Again, you can customize how many lines you want to see with the option.
And I think this is super handy for checking log files, see what's happened recently, or even for config files, to see the most recent changes.
Now, you mentioned that snort.com file is really long, like over 600 lines. How do you talk about a specific part of a file that long?
Yeah, that's where the NL command comes in. NL for number lines. Just use NL with the file name like NL etc snort.com.
Ah, and that gives you like line numbers next to all the text.
Exactly. So now you can easily tell someone, hey, check out line 350 or whatever.
That is incredibly helpful.
Or even just for yourself, making notes as you're working through the file.
And then we move into grep, which is like the ultimate tool for finding specific stuff in text files.
It's so powerful. grep lets you pick out the exact lines that have the pattern you're looking for. Everything else just disappears.
Your example uses the pipe, that vertical line. So you have cat, etc., snort.com, grep output.
Right. So that pipe symbol, it takes the output of the cat command and feeds it straight into the grep command.
Gotcha. So it's like grep is sifting through what cat is giving it.
Exactly. And in this case, it'll show you only the lines in snort.com that have the word output in them. Can you imagine scrolling through that whole file manually trying to find that?
It'd be a nightmare.
It would take forever. In a cybersecurity context, you could use this to search for log to find out where logging is set up. Super useful.
And speaking of finding things, the hacker challenge in your material really brings together everything we've talked about.
It's like a real-world scenario. So the goal is to find the lines just before this comment that says #step #6 configure output plugins.
Okay, so first you'd use NL to figure out what line number that comment is on. Turns out it's line 512.
Right. Then you use tail-n plus 507, etc. snort.com to start displaying the file from line 507 onward.
And then, to get those 6 lines just before the comment, you use head 9 and 6.
Boom. You've got exactly the information you need. It's like laser-focused extraction.
Talk about efficient.
Okay, so we've covered finding text, but what about if you need to actually change something?
Now we're talking about SID.
Said the stream editor. It's basically find and replace, but on the command line. Super powerful.
It really is. What's important is understanding how to use it. So a basic command might look like, find this replace with this gal file name.
Right, so you've got the S there, which means substitute. Then you put what you want to find, a slash, then what you want to replace it with, another slash. And then the G tells it to replace every instance of that text on each line.
Oh, the G is for global replacement.
Exactly. If you leave out the G, it'll just replace the first instance it finds on each line.
And you can even be more specific. You can tell SA to replace, say, only the second occurrence of a word.
Powerful stuff.
For sure.
Okay, so what about those really long files? I mean, even with head and tail, sometimes you just need a better way to navigate them.
Yeah, that's where more and less come in. They're like pagers, letting you view the file one screen at a time.
Much easier to manage. So with more, you hit Enter to move down line by line or the space bar to go a whole page at a time. And to quit, it's just Q simple.
I always think of more because it's the one used in the man pages.
It is, but less, I think, is even more useful. It does everything more does, but you can also scroll backwards.
And search. Don't forget the search function.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. Hit followed by what you're looking for, then hit in to go to the next match. Super helpful when you're working with big config files.
There you have it.
That was a whirlwind tour of essential Linux text manipulation commands. You learned about head, tail, NL, grep, sed, and even more and less. These are your power tools for getting the information you need from any text file in Linux.
Whether you're a sysadmin, a developer, or even if you're getting into cybersecurity like with Snort, these skills are essential.
And think about it, this goes beyond the command line. You can apply these ideas to any kind of information filtering and analysis. Sifting through research papers, dealing with huge data sets, it's all connected.
It really is. So the question is, how can you apply this kind of thinking to your own work? I think that's something worth exploring.
Food for thought, everyone. And that's a wrap on another deep dive.
Until next time.